Welcome to the Mood Ring, Part 1, Exploring Color. In this video, we'll learn about the perception of color in our brain. Pause your video now and take a moment to navigate to Activity 8. I'll see you there. Activity 8. Color vision. Have you ever wondered, is your red my red? In other words, is my perception of red the same thing that you perceive? Well, that's really an interesting question, and I'm not sure we'll ever know the exact answer, but we do know whether or not we agree upon particular colors. So, you and I may agree that the apple is red. However, whether or not you actually see the apple exactly how I see it, well, we don't get to know what's in each other's minds. But we do get to know a little bit about the perception of color. And so in the previous video, we talked about how we see with the light flowing into the eye. And we talked about how at the back of the eye is a thin tissue called the retina. And inside of the retina, there are three particular types of cells that are called cone cells. And those cone cells come in three different flavors. And those flavors are red, green, and blue. Since there are three different kinds of cone cells in our retina, sometimes we are referred to as being trichromatic. That's kind of a fancy word, but we can take it apart. Tri means three, like a tricycle has three wheels. And chromatic, chromacy, is color. And so trichromatic, three colors. We perceive about 10 million different colors because of the combination of the sensation of those three cones. This all happens inside of our brain in a region of the brain called the visual cortex. The visual cortex is in the back part of the head, and light comes in through the optic nerves and follows back into the brain. And one of the interesting things is that the path actually crisscrosses. The left eye travels into the right hemisphere or side of the brain, while the right eye travels into the left hemisphere. For now, let's take a closer look at color vision and color blindness. And so color vision, not all animals have the same color vision because not all animals have three kinds of cones. There are some animals that only have two types of cones. Like, for example, if you've ever seen someone deer hunting, or perhaps you've gone yourself, you know that one of the regulations is that you wear bright orange to protect yourself from other hunters. Have you ever wondered, why doesn't the bright orange scare deer? Well, it's because deer only have two cone cells, and as a result, they cannot discriminate that bright orange the way that we do. So the bright orange shouts, "Pay attention to me," in human vision with three cones. But to a deer, it really doesn't stand out as anything terribly different than perhaps some of the other background colors. Now, there are also animals that have more than three cones. Like, for example, reptiles and birds, they actually have four cones, and they can see about 100 million different colors. In fact, things like some insects can see colors that are more in the ultraviolet. And this is very helpful as they feed on flowers because it was evolutionarily advantageous to be able to see some of these higher frequency colors. What does this have to do with color blindness and color vision? Well, color blindness is when there is a genetic predisposition for a person to have a variation in one of their three cones. It typically is in the green cone, and that this cone has a slight difference in it. And a lot of times people that are colorblind have a difficult time discriminating the three colors red, green, and blue, and they see the world a little bit differently. Now, it usually doesn't cause too much of a problem for that person, and so most people don't even know they are colorblind until they take a test. Let's go to the next page and you can see one of those tests. This is an Ishihara plate and it's used for testing color blindness. And so look at this number and I'll let you scroll down to see what the answer is. But there's a number here in front of us. So color blindness is something that comes from color vision and a genetic variation in that.